I came home that night to a quiet house, expecting Lauren's usual chaos, shoes scattered, music blaring. Instead, I found a note on the counter, off to Greece with the girls. Back in 3 days. Love you, future husband. My fiancé of 3 years was gone, just like that, 3 days before our wedding. I'm Miles, by the way, 32, the kind of guy who overanalyzes everything. Lauren always said I'd make a terrible spy because I triple-checked my own cover story. She was the spontaneous one, the spark to my slow burn. We met at a bar in Seattle, her laughing at my terrible pool game, me hooked on her grin. Now, standing in our empty kitchen, I felt a weird itch in my gut. Greece for a bachelorette trip? Sure, fine. But something about her rushed handwriting bugged me. I tried calling her, but it went straight to voicemail. Probably on the plane, I muttered, grabbing a beer. I'd been planning the wedding down to the napkins. Navy blue, her favorite, while she'd been vague about this trip. Tara, her maid of honor, had organized it, promising epic memories. I trusted Lauren. She'd never given me a reason not to. But as I sat there, staring at her note, that itch grew. Why hadn't she mentioned the flight time? Why no goodbye in person? I shook it off, chalking it up to pre-wedding jitters. My grandmother used to say I'd overthink my way into a maze with no exit. She taught me how to solve puzzles as a kid. Rubik's Cubes, crosswords, said it'd keep me grounded. Maybe she was right. I pulled out an old cube from the drawer, twisting it absent-mindedly. Lauren would be back soon, laughing at my paranoia. But then my phone buzzed. A text from Tara. Landed. She's already a legend here. Attached was a blurry photo, Lauren, mid-laugh, on a dance floor. Some guy's arm was around her waist. My fingers froze on the cube. Who the hell was that? That photo gnawed at me all night. Lauren's head thrown back, that guy's arm slung low, too low. I told myself it was nothing. Bachelorette parties get wild. I'd seen the movies. But Tara's text kept looping in my head. She's already a legend. What did that mean? I scrolled back through Lauren's messages from the past week. Short, distracted replies about flowers and RSVPs. She'd been distant, sure, but we were both stressed. I'd proposed to her on a rainy hike 2 years ago, her squealing yes while mud soaked her boots. That Lauren wouldn't mess around days before our wedding, right? Morning hit, and I called Tara. She picked up, voice thick with sleep. Miles, it's like 6 a.m. here. I didn't care. Who's the guy in the photo? She laughed, sloppy and loose, still drunk, maybe. Oh, just some rich dude at the club. Loaded. Kept buying us shots. My chest tightened. And Lauren? Tara giggled. She was dancing, having fun. Chill, man. It's her last fling before the ring. The call ended, but her words stuck like tar. Last fling? I stared at our fridge, covered in save the dates. This wasn't fun anymore. I paced the house, replaying every moment with Lauren. She'd been my rock when I lost my job last year, cooking terrible pasta to cheer me up. I'd been her anchor when her mom got sick. We were solid. But then Tara's laugh echoed in my skull, and I saw that arm again. I grabbed my laptop, Googling the club from the photo's background, some swanky spot in Santorini. Reviews mentioned VIPs and millionaires. Richer than me, Tara said. I'm a project manager, decent salary, but no yacht money. Doubt crept in, cold and sharp. Was Lauren drawn to that? My phone rang, snapping me out of it. Tara again. Oops, forgot to mention. Lauren's fine, just hung over. Says hi. Relief washed over me, but it didn't last. Oh, and that guy? Theo. Total charmer. She hung up before I could ask more. Theo. The name burned. Why was she still talking about him? Theo. It stuck in my head like a splinter. I didn't sleep after Tara's call, just sat there, twisting that Rubik's Cube until my fingers ached. Lauren loved teasing me about my nerd habits, but she hadn't texted since that blurry photo. I sent her a casual, how's Greece? No reply. Hours ticked by. By noon, I was a mess. Calling, texting, nothing. Voicemail every time. Maybe her phone died. Maybe she was sleeping off the party. But that itch from the first night was a full-on claw now, digging into my ribs. I distracted myself with wedding stuff, confirming the DJ, double-checking the venue. Lauren picked the spot, a waterfront hall near Seattle. She'd been obsessed with the view, said it'd be our moment. I kept picturing her there, radiant in white, while I stood here, staring at a silent phone. Tara's last fling comment looped endlessly. Was it a joke or a slip? I called her again. She's fine, Miles, Tara groaned. Probably still asleep. Chill. But her tone was off. Too quick, too rehearsed. I pressed. Where's she right now? A pause. Hotel, I think. I'm not her babysitter. She hung up fast. That, I think, hit me hard. Tara knew more. I scrolled Instagram. Found her story. A beach selfie. No Lauren. Then Lauren's profile. A new post. A sunset over Santorini. Caption, living my best life. No mention of me. The wedding. Nothing. My pulse spiked. I commented, miss you. Call me. Crickets. By nightfall, I was spiraling. Was she ignoring me on purpose? I dug into our joint credit card. Charges in Greece. Clubs, restaurants, a boutique. Hundreds of dollars. Normal for a trip? Sure. But then I saw it. A charge from yesterday, a jewelry store. $2,000. We hadn't budgeted for that. I called her again, voicemail again. Lauren, what's going on? Call me back. My voice cracked. Silence stretched into the next morning. Then my phone pinged, a text from an unknown number. She's not coming back, man. Sorry. No name, no context. My hand shook. Who sent that? That text stopped my world. She's not coming back, man. Sorry. Unknown number, no caller ID. I stared at it, breath shallow like I'd been punched. Who knew my number? One of her friends? Theo? I called it back, disconnected. My mind raced. Lauren was supposed to be home tomorrow for the wedding rehearsal. This had to be a prank. But her silence, the jewelry charge, Tara's dodgy answers, it was piling up too fast. I needed answers. I dialed Tara again. 3 a.m. her time. She answered, voice sharp. Miles, what now? Tell me the truth, I said low and steady. Where's Lauren? She sighed, long and heavy. Okay, fine. She's been distracted. This guy, Theo, he's got a yacht, a villa, the works. She's been with him every night. My stomach dropped. Every night. Tara hesitated. Yeah, look, she's just caught up in it. Greece, you know. She'll snap out of it. But her words felt hollow. Tara, someone texted me she's not coming back. Was that you? Silence. No, she said finally. Maybe one of the girls messing with you. She's still your fiancé. I didn't buy it. I hung up, hands trembling. Lauren with some millionaire every night? I saw her laughing with me over takeout, planning our future. That Lauren wouldn't ditch me. But this one? I checked her socials again. Another post, her on a cliffside, caption, freedom tastes better here. Freedom from what? Me? The wedding was in 2 days. I called the airline. Her return flight was canceled. She'd done it yesterday. My chest burned. She wasn't caught up. She was gone. That hit me. Her visa. Lauren's Canadian. Here on a fiancé visa I'd sponsored. I'd signed the forms, handled the interviews. If she wasn't marrying me, she couldn't stay in the U.S. I grabbed my laptop, logged into the immigration portal. My fingers hovered over withdraw sponsorship. It had stranded her in Greece, no way back. Revenge pulsed through me. But then Tara's words echoed. Caught up, not done. Was I overreacting? My phone buzzed. Another unknown text. Check her email. What the hell? Check her email. That second text pushed me over the edge. I didn't know who was sending these, but they knew too much. Lauren and I shared a laptop sometimes. She'd logged into her Gmail once, left it saved. I hesitated, fingers on the keys. We'd built trust, hadn't we? 3 years of late-night talks, her dragging me to dance classes I hated, but secretly loved. But that was before Greece, before Theo, before she canceled her flight. I typed her email, hit enter. Password still worked. My heart pounded as her inbox loaded. Most of it was junk, wedding vendors, spam. Then I saw it. A thread with Theo, starting 2 months ago. Can't wait to show you Santorini, he wrote. Her reply. Counting the days. My throat closed. This wasn't spontaneous. She planned it. Another email, last week. I'll handle Miles. He won't suspect. Handle me? I scrolled, found a receipt. Apartment rental in Athens, 1 year, starting next month. She wasn't just staying for the trip. She was moving there. With him. I slammed the laptop shut, fury boiling over. 3 days ago, I'd been picking out cufflinks. Now she was handling me. I reopened the immigration site, Clicked withdraw sponsorship. A pop-up warned, "This action is irreversible." Good. I submitted it, got a confirmation. Her visa was void. She'd hit a wall at any U.S. border now. It felt vicious, satisfying, like solving a puzzle I didn't know I was in. But then doubt crept in. What if she had an explanation? What if I just torched everything for nothing? My phone rang. Lauren. I answered, shaking. "Miles, what did you do?" she screamed. "I'm stuck at the airport. They won't let me board." Her voice was frantic, but sharp, like she was cornered. "You weren't coming back," I said. "I saw the emails, the apartment." Silence. "Then you hacked me? You're insane." But she didn't deny it. "Explain it then," I pressed. "Why Theo? Why Lot?" She stammered. "It's not what you think," then hung up. "Not what I think." Bull. My phone buzzed again. Another text. "She's playing you still." Who was this? Lauren's scream still echoed in my ears, stuck at the Athens airport, blaming me. I'd pulled her visa, and now she was trapped, voice cracking over the phone before she hung up. Part of me felt smug. She'd underestimated me. I'd spent years managing projects, anticipating problems. She thought I'd just roll over? But that last text, "She's playing you still," gnawed at me. Who was watching this close? I paced our Seattle apartment, the wedding invites mocking me from the counter. 3 years with her, and now this. My phone buzzed again. "Lauren." I braced myself. "Miles, fix this," she said, calmer now, almost pleading. "I was coming back, I swear." "Theo's just a friend." "A friend? After the emails, the apartment? You canceled your flight?" I shot back. "Rented a place in Athens." She paused, and that was a backup plan. I got scared, okay? Wedding stress. Her voice softened, the Lauren I knew peeking through. For a second, I wavered. Maybe I'd overreacted. But then I remembered Tara's confession. Every night with Theo. "Tara told me everything," I said. Silence. "She's lying," Lauren snapped, then hung up again. I slumped onto the couch, head spinning. Was Tara the liar? Or was Lauren spinning a new story? I replayed her call. Too smooth, too rehearsed. She'd had hours to craft that excuse. I checked the immigration status again, confirmed her visa was dead. She couldn't charm her way past that. But doubt lingered. What if she was telling the truth? I just stranded her in Greece. No cash, no plan. Guilt hit hard. I wasn't this guy, was I? Then my phone pinged. Another unknown text. Ask Tara about the yacht. The yacht? Tara hadn't mentioned that. I dialed Tara, hands sweaty. "What yacht?" I demanded when she answered. She groaned. "Miles, stop. It's just some boat Theo owns. Lauren loved it, big deal." But her voice cracked. "Were you on it too?" I pressed. A long pause. "Yeah, once," she mumbled. "She's still there, isn't she?" Tara didn't answer. The line went dead. My gut sank. What was really happening over there? Tara's silence confirmed it. Lauren wasn't at the airport. She was still with Theo, probably on that yacht, laughing at me. I'd been a fool, buying her sob story for even a second. Rage simmered as I grabbed my laptop, digging deeper. I wasn't some helpless sap. I'd figure this out. Lauren's Instagram had a new story, a blurry ocean view, captioned "Chasing Horizons." No airport in sight. I cross-checked the background. Santorini's cliffs. She hadn't left the island. The stuck call was a lie. I Googled Theo, piecing it together like a project timeline. Theo Papadopoulos, 38, some Greek entrepreneur, yachts, real estate, flashy lifestyle. Articles called him a playboy philanthropist. Perfect. Lauren's type if she'd flipped a switch I never saw coming. But then I found a photo, him on that yacht, a woman beside him. Not Lauren, someone else, dated last month. A player, then. Was she just his latest fling? I checked her posts again, zooming in. No ring on her finger, not even the engagement one I'd given her. My jaw clenched. She ditched it. I called a buddy in Greece, Nick from a work trip years back. "Can you check something?" I sent him the yacht photo. He texted back fast. "Saw that boat docked in Santorini yesterday. Blonde woman on board." Blonde. Lauren. My chest burned. But Nick added, "Looked tense, though. Arguing with some guy." Tense? That didn't fit her best life posts. Was Theo not the dream she'd chased? I needed more. I hacked back in her email. Sue me. I was past morals now. A new message from Theo. Wired the cash. Meet me tomorrow. Cash. What cash? I scroll their thread. Vague plans, flirty nonsense, then a bank receipt. $10,000 sent to a U.S. account last week. Our joint account. I checked it. Nothing new. She'd hidden it somewhere else. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just a fling. She'd been siphoning money. For how long? I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. She'd played me from the start. But then my phone buzzed. Nick again. Boat's gone. Left this morning. Where the hell was she now? Nick's text hit like a brick. Lauren and Theo were gone. Yacht and all. I sat there, laptop glowing, her emails taunting me. $10,000 wired, more maybe, and I'd missed it. How deep was this? I needed someone on the inside. Tara was my only shot. She'd been cagey, but she'd slipped before. I called her again, 2 a.m. her time. Miles, I'm done with this, she groaned. No, you're not, I said, voice hard. You knew about the yacht, the money. Talk, or I tell everyone you helped her scam me. She cursed, then caved. Fine. Theo's loaded. Owns half of Santorini, basically. Lauren met him months ago, some event in Vancouver. She was obsessed. My stomach twisted. Vancouver? She'd gone there for work last fall. Obsessed how? I asked. Tara sighed. His life, the villas, the parties. Said you were sweet, but boring. She wanted more. Boring. 3 years, and I was boring. And the money? I pressed. Tara hesitated. She started moving cash a while back. Said it was for security. Theo promised her a cut if she stayed. A cut? This was a hustle, not a romance. Where's she now? I demanded. No clue, Tara said. She stopped texting me after the airport thing. Probably with him. But her voice shook. She was scared. You're lying, I said. You were on that yacht too. She went quiet, then, once okay? She dragged me along. I didn't know she'd ditch you. I didn't believe her. Tara was in deeper than she'd admit. I hung up, mind racing. Lauren had planned this for months. Vancouver, the money, Theo. I checked our joint account again. Small withdrawals I'd ignored, gifts she'd said. Hundreds here, thousands there. She'd been bleeding me dry. But Tara's fear stuck with me. Why was she rattled? I texted Nick, find that yacht. He replied, on it. Heard rumors, Theo's shady. Be careful. Shady how? I dug online. Forum posts about Theo dodging debts, ghosting partners. A con man? Maybe Lauren wasn't the mastermind. Maybe she'd been suckered too. My phone buzzed. Tara. She just called me. She's freaking out. About what? Tara's text lit a fire. Lauren was freaking out. Good. She'd built this mess, and now it was crumbling. I wasn't just some chump she could fleece. I'd hit back harder. Theo might be shady, but Lauren was complicit. Those emails proved it. I grabbed my laptop, pulling up our joint accounts again. The small withdrawals added up. $15,000 over 6 months, funneled somewhere. I called the bank, voice steady. Freeze everything. Suspicious activity. They locked it in minutes. Her cash lifeline? Cut. Next, I dug into that $10,000 wire from Theo. It wasn't in our account, so where? I remembered her old PayPal, linked to an email I rarely checked. Logged in, bingo. $10,000, sitting there, plus more, $25,000 total, chunks from months back. My money, rerouted through her gifts. I reported it to the IRS. Unexplained income, possible fraud. Let her explain that to Uncle Sam. Then I called immigration again, doubling down. She's abandoned her visa intent. They flagged her as a risk. She'd never step foot here again. I leaned back, adrenaline pumping. It was brutal, surgical. Every move locked her in tighter. But then Tara's words replayed. She's freaking out. Why? If she had Theo's millions, why panic? I texted her back. What did she say? Tara replied. She's stuck. Theo's furious. Money's gone. Gone? My freezes must have hit before he could pull it. I grinned, poetic, but doubt flickered. Was she really stuck or playing victim again? My phone rang. Lauren, sobbing. Miles, you've ruined me. Theo ditched me. I've got nothing. Her voice broke raw. I almost felt bad. You ruined yourself? I said. The emails, the cash, you planned this. She choked. It wasn't supposed to go this far. I just wanted out. Out of what? Me? Then why the money? I asked. Silence, then Theo made me. He's not who I thought. Not who she thought. My gut twisted. Nick's warning about Theo being shady. Was she trapped too? I hung up, unsure. Then Nick texted, "Yachts in Crete. She's there alone." Alone? Where's Theo? Nick's text threw me. Lauren alone in Crete? No Theo, no yacht crew. I pictured her stranded, that cocky smirk wiped off her face. She'd call me sobbing, but I'd heard her lies before. I wasn't buying it yet. My freezes and reports had her cornered. Bank accounts locked, IRS sniffing, Visa gone. She'd dug this hole, and I made sure she couldn't climb out. But Theo made me stuck in my head. Was there more? An email popped up. Lauren. Subject, please. I opened it, wary. Miles, I messed up. Theo's gone, took everything. I'm stuck in Crete. No money, no way home. Help me, I'm begging. I never meant to hurt you. Attached was a photo. Her in a dingy room, eyes red, no makeup. The Lauren I knew was polished. This one looked broken. My chest tightened. 3 years of memories flashed. Her laughing at my terrible pancakes, us dreaming about kids. Could I abandon her now? But then I scrolled down. Her email signature had a Greek phone number. New, not hers. I Googled it. Linked to a holding company, Papadopoulos Ventures. Theos. My blood chilled. She was still tied to him, even in this plea. I replied, "Nice try. Whose number is this?" No response. She'd overplayed her hand. Again. I texted Nick, "Check that Crete spot. Something's off." He shot back, "Will do. Locals say Theo's been around." I sat back, piecing it together. Lauren wasn't alone by choice. Theo had ditched her, maybe when my moves tanked their cash flow. But that number? She was still in his orbit, lying to drag me back in. Rage flared. I'd almost fallen for it. I called Tara. She emailed me, begging. I said, "What's her game?" Tara sighed. "She's desperate. Theo cut her off, but she won't quit him." Won't quit him? After everything? Nick texted again. Found her. She's at a bar, arguing with some guy. Not Theo. Not Theo. My head spun. Who was she with now? I stared at her photo, that broken look. Was it real or another mask? Then my phone buzzed. "Lauren, you're right. I'm sorry." Too late. Lauren's "I'm sorry" text felt like a slap. Too little, too late. Nick's update had her in a Crete bar, arguing with some guy who wasn't Theo. Who now? I'd frozen her cash, killed her Visa. She should have been done. But that email with Theo's company number lingered. She was still tied to him or someone. I needed the full picture. Nick's warning about Theo being shady echoed. Debts, ghosted partners. Was Lauren a pawn, not a player? I dug deeper, Googling Papadopoulos Ventures. Sketchy reviews, lawsuits, a trail of burned investors. Theo wasn't just a playboy. He was a hustler. I called Nick. "That guy she's with, any ID?" He texted back, "Working on it. Locals say he's American. Loud, throwing cash." American? My mind raced. Lauren had planned this for months. Vancouver, the money. What if Theo wasn't the endgame? I reopened her PayPal. Older transfers $5,000, $8,000 to a J. Carter. Not Theo. I searched the name. James Carter, 40, Seattle-based real estate guy. A memory hit. Lauren's work friend from last year met at that Vancouver event. Had I missed the real betrayal? I texted Tara. "Who's James Carter?" She replied fast. Oh no, her ex. Bad news. Ex? Lauren had mentioned a messy breakup years ago. Controlling guy, cut ties. Why was he in Crete? I pieced it together. Her security, money, the apartment, Carter's cash in the bar. Theo was a middleman. Carter was the goal. She'd used me, then Theo, to get back to him. My stomach churned. But Nick texted, "Caught a name, Carter. She's begging him for something." Begging? Maybe he turned on her too. I sat back, dazed. 3 years, and I'd been a stepping stone. But then it clicked. Her panic, Theo's exit. Carter had the money now, and she was scrambling. I'd crippled her leverage, froze the accounts, flagged the IRS. She was cornered. A dark satisfaction bloomed. She'd underestimated me, and it had cost her everything. Then my phone buzzed. "Nick, Carter's leaving." She's crying. Good. But was it over? Nick's text pushed me to act. Lauren crying. Carter bailing. She was falling apart, and I needed to see it. I booked a flight to Crete, telling myself it was closure, not madness. 12 hours later, I landed, jet-lagged but wired. Nick met me at the airport, a stocky guy with a grim nod. She's at a dive bar near the port. Alone now. I gripped my bag, heart pounding. I'd spent years building a life with her. Now I'd watch it burn. We found her in a grimy cafe, nursing a coffee. No glamour, just a tired woman in a wrinkled dress, eyes puffy. She didn't see me at first. I slid into the booth across from her. "Miles," she gasped, spilling her drink. "What are you doing here?" Her voice cracked raw. "Ending this," I said. "James Carter." "Who is he?" Her face paled. "You don't understand." "I do." I cut in. "Your ex. The money. Theo was just a tool, right?" She stared, then laughed, bitter, unhinged. "You think you won? Carter's got it all now. Theo bolted when you froze everything, and Carter cleaned me out." Her smirk faltered. "I was going to leave you clean, Miles. Quietly. But you had to play hero." "Leave me quietly? After siphoning my savings?" "You're a liar," I said. "Always were." She leaned in, eyes hard. "And you're a sucker." Carter's laughing all the way to Seattle. My fist clenched. "Then why are you crying?" She flinched. "He dumped me here. Took the cash. Left me with nothing." Her voice broke, but I saw it. A flicker of calculation. She was fishing for pity, one last con. I stood. "Good. Right here." She grabbed my arm. "Miles, wait. I'll tell you where he is. Just help me." I shook her off. "You're done." Nick waited outside. "She's desperate," he said. "Carter's long gone." I nodded, chest tight. I'd faced her, seen the mask slip. But her words stung. Carter laughing in Seattle. My money, my life. I wasn't done yet. Then Nick's phone pinged. FBI alert. Theo's arrested. Arrested? Theo arrested? Nick showed me the alert. FBI nabbed him in Athens, fraud and money laundering. My head spun as we stood outside that cafe. Lauren's still inside, oblivious. I'd thought Carter was the end game, but Theo's bust changed everything. "Details?" I asked. Nick scrolled. Raided his villa. Found records, partners, accounts. Lauren's name's on it. My breath caught. She wasn't just a pawn. She was in deep. I'd frozen her cash, but the FBI had the real trap. I stormed back in. Lauren looked up, startled. "Theo's done," I said, tossing my phone with the news at her. She scanned it, face draining. No, this isn't right," she stammered. "You're listed," I said. "Accomplice." She shook her head wildly. "That's a lie. He framed me." But her eyes darted, guilty. "Then why'd you wire my money?" I pressed. She slumped, silent. The jig was up. Nick pulled me aside. "Feds might want her too. She's a flight risk." Flight risk? She had no passport, no funds. I made sure of that. But then it hit me. Carter. He'd taken her haul and left her as the fall guy. I'd outmaneuvered her, but he'd outplayed us both. I checked my accounts back home. Moved to a new bank months ago, a paranoid hunch. Untouched. Relief hit, then triumph. She'd lost. Carter hadn't won. I faced her one last time. "FBI's coming," I said. "Tell them your sob story." She glared, venomous. "You think you're smart? I'll drag you down too." Drag me down? She had nothing. Until I remembered her threat. Carter's laughing. Did he have proof I'd missed? I walked out, mind racing. Nick drove me to the airport. "She's bluffing," he said. "Feds'll sort it." Maybe, but I wasn't sure. Back in Seattle, I crashed exhausted. Then a call, FBI agent. "Mr. Hayes, we've got Papadopoulos. Your fiancé's named in transfers." "No, anything." I told them everything. Her emails, the PayPal. "She's all yours," I said. They hung up, and I exhaled. It was over. Until a news alert flashed. Suspect escapes custody in Crete. Lauren escaped. That alert jolted me awake. 3 a.m. in Seattle. I'd thought Crete was her cage. FBI closing in, no money, no allies. But she'd slipped out, a ghost again. I sat on my couch, staring at the wall where our engagement photo used to hang. I'd taken it down after Greece, burned it after Crete. That Miles, trusting, soft, was gone. She'd carved something harder out of me, and I wasn't mad about it. I grabbed a Rubik's Cube, an old habit from my grandmother. Twisted it fast, colors aligning. She'd said puzzles taught control. Find a pattern, own the chaos. Lauren was chaos, but I'd found her pattern. Lies, pivots, desperation. I countered every move, Visa, accounts, feds. Carter got away, sure, but I kept my money, my life. She hadn't. The cube clicked, solved. I smirked. Outsmarting her felt better than loving her ever did. Days blurred into weeks. I canceled the wedding. Vendors refunded, guests gossiped. Tara called once, apologizing. I didn't care. I started teaching puzzle workshops for kids at the community center, something to fill the void. A nod to my grandmother, maybe. They'd gasp when I'd solve a cube in under a minute, eyes wide. How, they'd ask. Practice, I'd say. Truth was, I'd learned to see moves ahead. Lauren's gift to me. But her escape nod. Where is she? With Carter? Hiding? The feds had no leads, just Theo in cuffs, spilling names. She dodged them like always. I wasn't scared, though. Let her come. I'd be ready. My phone stayed quiet. No texts, no pleas. Good. Then mail arrived. A letter, no return address. Her handwriting. My pulse spiked. Miles, it read. I didn't want this. Help me, please. They're after me. They? Feds? Carter? I held it over the sink, lit a match. Watched it curl to ash. No more games. I tossed the cube in the air, caught it. She turned me ruthless, and I liked it. But one question lingered. Who was they? Then my doorbell rang. The doorbell cut through the silence. Sharp and late. 11 p.m. I froze, cube in hand, ashes of Lauren's letter still in the sink. Who'd show up now? I cut ties, moved on. Workshops, new locks, no trace of her left. I crept to the peephole. 2 suits, badges glinting. FBI. My gut unclenched, but only slightly. Mr. Hayes, one said when I opened the door. We need to talk. They stepped in, faces grim. Lauren's gone underground. The taller one, Agent Ruiz, said. Escaped Crete 2 weeks ago. We think she's stateside. Stateside? My freezes her void visa. How? Fake passport, he answered my look. She's good. Good didn't cover it. She conned her way back. Why tell me? I asked. Ruiz leaned in. Her last call from Crete named you. Said you'd hide her. Hide her? After everything? I laughed dry. She's delusional. They showed me a photo, grainy, a woman in a hoodie at a gas station. Seattle plates. Recognize her? Maybe her jawline, but I wasn't sure. Could be anyone, I said. They nodded, unconvinced. She's desperate, the other agent said. Carter's vanished, Theo's singing. She's got no one. No one but me, she'd think. That letter, they're after me, was her last play. Feds, maybe, or Carter's crew. I didn't care. We'll watch the house, Ruiz said, leaving. Call if she shows. I wouldn't. She'd find no shelter here. I locked the door, sat with the cube. Kids at the workshop called me the solver now, ironic. I'd solve her game, but she kept rewriting the rules. Months passed, no sign. I rebuilt. New routines, sharper edges. She'd made me this, and I'd outlast her. Then a news alert, fugitive spotted in Canada. Lauren, border town, caught on CCTV. Feds nabbed her next day. Relief hit, then a smirk, she'd lost. I twisted the cube, colors snapping into place. Game over. But as I set it down, a text from an unknown number. You're next. Not her style. Carter? I stared out the window, pulse steady. Bring on. Thank you for tuning into Tori Story. We appreciate every single one of you. We'd love to know what part of the world are you watching from right now. Let us know in the comments.